Are you ready for high-speed motorsports talk about your local short track? You've come to the right place. Get ready to hear from some of the top stars of Seekonk Speedway right here on the Race Day Rewind podcast series. We'll hear it all, from pure excitement to disappointment of coming so close, the frustrations of contact on the track, and the thrill of winning a race or a championship. The Seekonk Speedway podcast series is a production of Sousa Media. Now let's get to the show. The Seekonk Speedway podcast series is a production of Seekonk Speedway and Sousa Media. For more information on Sousa Media, visit kylesousa.com. And for more information on Seekonk Speedway, visit seekonkspeedway.com. Hello again, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Seekonk Speedway 2022 season preview series for our Fast Friday season. If you're listening to this podcast, this is the one for the Nick's Pit Stop Legend Cars, which means you've probably already listened to some of the ones for our other divisions. If you haven't, I suggest you go back and listen to them right here on the podcast platform, talking about our 2022 Fast Friday divisions, the final season previews of the 2022 season. Of course, we previewed NASCAR Saturday many months ago as they opened their season at the beginning of May. They're 3 races in. It's now time for our Fast Friday series to take center stage for the first time this year in 2022. Excited to see the Fast Friday teams and really excited to see this Nick's Pit Stop Legend Cars division take to the track for the first time this season, coming up on Friday, May 27th. Tickets just $10 for Fast Friday. So if you're in the area, come on out and join us. As we've done over the other preview podcasts, I'm going to point out some of the favorites in this division, talk about a few drivers, and then we'll welcome in a driver guest to end the podcast. On this edition of the Race Day Preview Series, the driver guest is going to be Mason Tessier, driver of the Helger South Coast Power Equipment number 42. He races for Helger South Coast Power Equipment Racing, and we'll start with him as we talk about 2022. The defending champion of this division, of course, was Luke LeBrun. He drove the B&M maintenance machine to a double-digit worth of wins last year. However, he's not going to be returning to this class this season, so that opens the door wide for the championship chase in 2022. Now, who does that mean is going to be able to knock him off the top? We're about to find out. Dighton Mass's Mason Tessier may be the one. We'll talk about him in the next segment with him, but keep your eyes and ears open for him over the course of the season. That number 88 that LeBrun drove, where he dominated last year, also has a new driver this year. Mike Sullivan and the team of B&M Maintenance have tabbed Devin Deshays to drive that car, a former Seekonk Youth Racing Association champion in our Bandolero division. Deshays is a major threat to get to the front of the field each and every time he hits the track behind the wheel of his normal number 64. This time, watch out, because LeBrun's got a good car, teaming with Nicholas Cola Racing and the B&M Maintenance crew. I think that's going to be a potent combination, and I think that's a combination that really could get to victory lane and possibly get to victory lane pretty quickly over the course of the 2022 season. I do not expect him to go out there and win double-digit races like LeBrun did. That may have been an impossible feat to replicate with the competition in this division. They just had it together last year. They had a good combination. Does that mean that Devin Deshays cannot do it? No, because it's definitely possible that Deshays is going to go out there and kick everybody's butt. What do I know? But I don't think it's possible he wins double-digit races. I expect him to get a handful, and I expect the Harrisville, Rhode Island driver to be in championship contention when it comes down to it at the end of the year. So we'll watch for Devin Deshays. Another driver I think we got to watch in this division, 2 of them really, 2 veterans, Josh Parsons and Brandon Hammond. Both of them are proven winners. Both of them have run well in the championship. They haven't won the title. Parsons came extremely close a couple years ago in the 09. He also drives inside the Nicholas Cola Racing stable. Got to watch Josh Parsons. I think he's going to be a threat over the course of the season in the number 09. Brandon Hammond comes out of the camp that works with Jerry DeCaspari Jr. on NASCAR Saturday night. The North Smithfield, Rhode Island racer. Watch him. I mean, Brandon Hammond's going to be a threat, I think, for this whole thing. Not only to win the championship, but to win races on a weekly basis. So to me, Brandon Hammond and Josh Parsons right there at the top of the list of favorites in the Nick's Pit Stop Legend Cars for the 2022 season. Also got to watch a couple others as we get rolling into the year. I'm watching Brendan LaBelle, the Taunton, Massachusetts native, in the number 4. LaBelle's a threat pretty much right every time he goes on the track. He was in the Seekonk Youth Racing Association, specifically in the Bandolero divisions. I'm watching for him to be a threat in the Legend Cars this year. He kind of got his feet wet last year as a rookie, got out there, got what he needed to do done, got some experience, and he's rolling it into this year, really looking to go out and pick up feature wins kind of early in the season. I expect him to be a threat behind the wheel of the number 4. So watch out for Brendan LaBelle again this year behind the wheel. That black, red, white machine, he's going to be a contender. A couple other guys to watch. Nick Chaber Jr. is registered a Legend for this year, moving up from the Seekonk Grand Prix Bandolero Outlaws a couple of years after coming off an impressive championship run the last 2 years in that division. So we'll watch for him to try to contend for the title again this year, but this time in the Legend Cars. We'll see what he can do. Jacob Rowdy Burns is a NASCAR Saturday regular here at Seekonk, competing in our Everett's Auto Parts late model division. Watch for Rowdy behind the wheel of car number 13 this year in the Legends. He's a multiple-time Legend Cars winner. He's proven that he can hang the car out sideways and still hang on, and sometimes that's what you need in the Legend Cars on Fast Friday. So watch out for Jacob Rowdy Burns behind the wheel of the number 13. I think we got to watch him. Pepe is registered in this division again this year. Many of you older Seekonk Speedway fans will know him as Pepe. He also runs in our NASCAR Saturday Sportsman. Jimmy Sylvia in the 116. Fans remember him, and he's driving the 16RI this year in the Legends. He's registered. We'll see how many races he runs behind the wheel. Isaiah Newcomb, the Plymouth, Massachusetts native, a former Seekonk Speedway champion. He won the title in the Seekonk Grand Prix Bandolero Outlaw Division a couple of years ago. I am going to watch for Isaiah Newcomb to be a threat this year in the Legend Cars. Really think he's going to come on strong. Ben Amato and Matt Carpenter, 2 veterans of this division, both drive car number 24, 2 separate teams. They're both veterans. I don't expect them to light the world on fire or win the championship, but it would not surprise me at all if one of them got to victory lane once or twice this year. They've both improved over the course of the season last year, and I could see them running at the front and contending for feature wins. Now, let's see what else goes on here in the Legend Cars with some of these other names. Brody Monahan, the Waterford, Connecticut native, drives car number 31. He's a former regular down at the Waterford Speed Bowl. Brody's planning on running full-time with us in the Legend Cars this year. Not sure what he's going to do. I mean, he's run with us in the Bandoleros before and run well. He's run down at the Speed Bowl and won races in the Legend Cars, including one this year already. I expect him to run well, pick up a win, run in the top 5. He's one we got to watch this year in this division. How about Ty LeClaire, the Taunton, Massachusetts native that comes from a family in the LeClaires as we roll into the season? Looking forward to seeing what he does. The Waterford, Connecticut native, that's Monahan's hometown. Taunton, Mass is LeClaire's hometown. I don't know how he's going to do. Ty's been running with the Nelcar Tour here to open the season to kind of get his feet wet. I expect him to run at the front. He drives for Nicholas Scola Racing. I would not be shocked at all to see him roll into the 2022 season up at the front of the field behind the wheel. Mike Floyd's registered in the 65, North Kingstown, Rhode Island native. Doesn't usually run the full season, but I expect him to compete. Andrew Carpenter in the 74 is another veteran of this class. Jake Sylvia, he's the son of Pepe, the son of Jimmy Sylvia, behind the wheel of the number 78. The Middletown, Rhode Island native had speed last year. Expecting him to get up towards the front this year and potentially contend for that championship in the next Pit Stop Legend Cars. I would not be surprised at all to see Jake Sylvia in contention towards the end of the year. And then the other driver we got to watch is Richie Helger Jr., the Tiverton, Rhode Island native. He's in the Young Lions and the Legends, Rookie of the Year contender in this class, and the defending champion in the Seekonk Grand Prix Bandolero Outlaws. Moving up this year is going to be a big task for Richie Helger Jr. It's going to be tough. He knows it, but I think he's going to come out the other side with multiple feature wins. I mean, just based on the preseason practice sessions that we've watched here at Seekonk in 2022, look out for Richie Helger Jr. I think he's one you're really going to have to watch when it comes to 2022 at Seekonk Speedway. He's been fast in his preseason testing. He's another one that's also run a couple races with the Nelcar Tour to get his feet wet to open the year. Watch out for Richie Helger Jr. I think he's going to be a threat in this class, and I would not be surprised to see him racing for the championship at the end of the year. This Legend Car division is a mix of rising stars and veterans. And, man, there's other drivers I haven't even mentioned. P.J. Evans is one to watch this year. It's just so many. This Legend Cars division is going to have a full field weekly. How about Reese Bogue, the NASCAR Saturday late model rookie this year, planning on running at least a partial schedule in the Legends. Didn't win last year. He's going to be tough in the Legend Cars in 2022. So look out for Smiling Reese as well. So many drivers are contenders. We'll see how it all shakes out. It all begins on Friday, May 27th. Again, that's just a brief overview of the Nick's Pit Stop Legends in our preview. Check out SeekonkSpeedway.com to see their full roster and see if your favorite driver is going to be racing over the course of the season. We're going to take a quick break. I do want to mention, though, thanks to Nick's Pit Stop for sponsoring this division again in 2022. Keith and Nick Wiscola and their team down at Nick's Pit Stops and Nick Wiscola Racing can help you with all your Legends car parts and needs. Find them on Facebook and give them a call for your Legend car assistance. They've been sponsors of this division since the inception, and we cannot thank Nick Wiscola, Keith Wiscola, and the Nick Wiscola Racing team enough for their support in 2022. We'll chat with our guest of this edition of the preview series. Again, I mentioned at the beginning, Mason Tessier is going to join us. Nick's Pit Stop Legend Cars driver of car number 42. Stick with us around the break, and we will chat with Mason. All right, welcome back to the Nick's Pit Stop Legends season preview here as we wrap the show with a special guest for the first time here on this podcast. He's going to help us to talk about what's coming up here in 2022 for his specific race team. That is Mason Tessier. As I mentioned in the last segment, Mason is going to be driving for Helger South Coast Power Equipment Racing. And of course, we know Helger South Coast Power Equipment Racing, and that is a mouthful right there, because of Richie Helger Jr., your defending Seekonk Grand Prix Bandolier Outlaw champion. They have formed kind of a race team here this year on top of just Richie Helger. They've got multiple Bandoleros in the stable for this season, and they're also going to be having a couple of Legend cars. Of course, one for Richie behind the wheel of the 99, and this guy, Mason Tessier, is also joining the team this year. Mason raced last year for Scott Harkin Racing, and Mason, you were able to get a win last year. Take us back to last year a little bit. Just kind of run us through from your perspective what the season was like. Were you happy with the results? Obviously, you want to win the championship, but you got your first win and you finished second in the points, and I feel like overall that was a pretty dang good year for you.
Oh yeah, last year was a whole lot of fun. I was really happy to be able to pick off a win. I feel like we should have got a couple more, but that's what this year's for. Last year was, man, that was the most fun I've had in the Legend car in a long time, and I can't wait to get to it this year because it'll probably be a whole lot more fun.
Yeah, Mason, again, raced for Scott Harkin Racing last year, came out strong. He actually won the first Triple Crown race last year, was in the top 5 for much of the year, and really could have won more races if it just kind of played out a little bit differently in the final couple laps. Got a lot of speed. Now, let's talk about this new team that Rich Helger and his group has formed. Of course, Rich Helger is a avid sponsor of the track here. Helger South Coast Power Equipment sponsoring our Pure Stock division on Fast Friday and also our Sportsman division as part of our NASCAR Saturday slate. What's it been like to kind of work with these guys through the practice session? I know you got a couple of similar guys working with you that you had over at Scott Harkin Racing, but what's it been like here in the practice sessions, and how confident are you going into the year working with this specific group?
Oh, I'm really confident. We've got a great group of guys. Kyle Casper, Rich Helger, they work tirelessly to get the whole team running, and I have full confidence in what they can do with making a fast race car.
Now, the practice sessions, you've been up at the front of the field so far here. We had a couple of them. What is the speed in the car? I mean, are you really, really feeling good here, excited to get going, and feel like you're going to come out of the box and get right into the top 5? Because really, as you know, Mason, as our fans know, if you're in the top 5 at the end of one of these races, the last 10 or so laps are hectic. Anything can happen, right? So that's the goal. But is the speed there that you need?
I feel as though we do. I feel really comfortable in my car. I feel like that's what I've always strived for, is being able to put my car in any spot, because it does get very hectic towards the end. You want to keep your nose clean. You want to be able to finish the race so you can be up front towards the end.
Yeah, and Mason's going to be a threat, I think, to do that this year. When you size up the competition, and we ask this to drivers all the time, of course, last year you had Luke LeBron. He went out there and dominated everybody. I know you got a win. There wasn't many others other than Mason Tessier that went to victory lane if your name was not Luke LeBron. And obviously that's a credit to what Luke was able to do last year. But are there other guys in this division? I mean, are you concerned about racing with Richie Jr.? Because I think with what I've seen in these practice sessions, that kid's got got his stuff together here in the early part of the season. Does that concern you at all, racing with him? Do you feel like he's going to go out there and give you a run for your money?
A little bit. I'm really excited to race with him. He's shown tremendous speed, way beyond expectations of what I could ever imagine. He's going to be a real threat towards the end of the season. I think he definitely can knock off a win.
Now, are there other drivers you're looking in this division? I mean, we talked about in the last segment, Devin DeShays is going to be driving that Carl LeBrun drove. We talked about Ty Leclerc. We talked about Brody Monahan. We talked about Josh Parsons and Brandon Hammond. Just tell us how tough this division is, because from a fan's perspective, and even from me watching it from a track perspective, this seems like such a hard division to get up there and race for the win.
Oh yeah, I feel like the difficulty in the competitions really made me a better driver. Back in 2020, I finished third in points to Jake Johnson and Reagan Parent, two really good drivers. And last year, I finished second in points to Luke LeBron, another really good driver. And there's just so much talent in the field. I've raced with Josh Parsons for I think all the years I've been in Legends. Devin DeShays, I've watched him grow from the Bandos into the Legends. I think he'll be pretty good this year. Ty Leclerc, he's really picking this stuff up fast. There's a lot of good kids that are really learning pretty quick.
Yeah, and Mason was a kid. I mean, he still is a kid. He was a kid a couple of years ago and learning his own. For those who don't know, Mason also works with us on NASCAR Saturday Night in the concession stands. You can see him hanging out there and getting you those French fries that are so good. To me, the best French fries in all of New England, no doubt. But, all right, Mason, what is the expectations going into the year? In this playoff format and everything that's going on here, what is your expectation? What are you expecting from that 42 this year? Is it the championship? Do you just want to get as many wins as possible? What is your goal going into 2022?
My goal is the championship first and foremost. I'd love to get some more wins. I only have one in the Legend car so far. I feel like we can definitely knock off the 3 or 4, hopefully a little bit more. But I'm really looking forward to this year. The expectations are championship. We're going championship or bust.
Yeah, there you go. He's going all in. He's sending it every Friday night. Of course, he's going to kick off his Legend Cars Championship threat coming up this Friday night, May 27th. Now, Mason, I know there's a lot of people. Of course, we talked about the Helgers, and you mentioned Kyle Casper is one of the ones that's assisting you this year. Kyle's a former sport truck champion and Pro Stock and Sportsman winner here at Seekonk. Who are some of the sponsors and some of the people that are going to make the 2022 season possible for Mason Tessier? Because you, like many others, without those sponsors and supporters, you would not be able to do this on a weekly basis.
Of course, the sponsors are everything. We have Herb Chambers Honda of Seekonk, Chaz's Auto Body, G. Lopes Construction, Greyhound Liquors, Kirker HVAC, and of course Rich Helger and Kyle Casper for working on the car and making it as good as it is.
Yeah, I actually watched Mason at one of the first practice sessions. He was putting the stickers on his car, so he's ready to go here. He's got the sponsors listed. He's got everybody listed that he needs. And Mason, we appreciate the time as part of our season preview podcast here for the Nick's Pit Stop Legend Cars. We hope you'll be talking with us on the track, maybe after some races coming up, and we hope to get you back on the podcast here after a couple victories over the course of the year. So good luck to you, and thanks for the time.
All right, thank you.
All right, that's been Mason Tessier, and with that, that's going to wrap this edition of the Seekonk Speedway Race Day Reports. The season preview for the Nick's Pit Stop Legend Cars is in the books. Again, buy your tickets today at SeekonkSpeedway.com for the opening Fast Friday of the season, May 27th. $10 for adults, kids 12 and under, free. I mean, what else can you get at that cost for entertainment on a Friday night? Great entertainment. Check out SeekonkSpeedway.com for the tickets, and also check out that is a mouthful. SeekonkSpeedway.com for the roster for the Nick's Pit Stop Legend Cars. There are a few drivers we didn't mention in the podcast, so check that out as well. And for now, we'll see you at the track. I'm Kyle Souza from Souza Media. Thanks for listening to the Seekonk Speedway podcast series. We hope you have a great rest of your day, and we will see you at the Action Track of the East. Bye-bye now.